and share my screen. My text messages, oh my gosh. Okay, so here we go. Balancing the masculine and feminine energies in fitness. I would love to, like I said, kind of have this as like an open conversation too, like throughout this. So if there's anything, in the middle of the call, feel free to unmute or speak up in the chat or just afterwards. But I think it's a really interesting topic. So masculine and feminine energies, just what are they? I think we just got to first get on the same page. The way that I would explain masculine energy is goal-oriented, structured, effort, rigid. Some elements associated is the sun, fire, some like parts of the world located would be like New York style energy, sharp, discipline, logic, the mind. We all have all of these things, right? And then feminine, that's intuition, ease, flow, rest. The moon is associated with the feminine energy. Hawaii is sort of like a geographical location associated with feminine energy. Recovery, water, receptivity, your body, emotions. And again, we all have all of these. This has nothing to do with gender. And if you didn't know that already, that's like the biggest thing is not about gender. We all have both of them. And the ideal balance would be kind of like a good 50-50, or at least knowing when to tap into your masculine and when to tap into your feminine, if it's not like all the time balanced. So harmony is created when both of these are balanced. And I love the word harmony. I think it's just the most beautiful way to like fully understand kind of what that means to have both of them balanced. I'm sure you've had moments in your life where you just feel like everything is in harmony, or maybe internally things are in harmony. Burnt out. So when you're feeling burnt out, like you're working way too much, you haven't had a minute to yourself, or if you're experiencing feelings or thoughts of anxiety, these are signs that you are too far in your masculine. Now, if you're experiencing just straight up laziness, you're very sedentary, maybe depression is what you're feeling, that's a good sign that you are too far in your feminine. So overall wellness, health, and a fitness journey, if you're successful on these things, it'll become a lifestyle, right? So that's the goal, is to live a healthy lifestyle, for your fitness journey to just kind of become like who you are. We're not trying to have like a start and an end date or whatever. We're looking for it to become a lifestyle. So it's essential to have 50-50 to maintain the lifestyle and for it to feel natural. The feminine is not weak in any way. And I want to point that out. I know sometimes when things are referred to as like rest and recovery and ease and flow, I think because our society that we're in is a masculine based society, that we think of those things as weak. The feminine is super powerful, like the ocean, right? So like water. I don't know if you guys ever gone surfing or just been out in the ocean for a second. That shit will kill you like no other. The feminine is the creator and the destroyer of all things. So when I say these things like rest and flow and ease, I don't want you by any means to get that mixed up with weakness. And then throughout the structure and the boundaries of the masculine, within that is when you can enjoy the beauty of the feminine without feeling like overtaken, or that feeling of chaos, or feeling depressed, or sort of like all over the place, or like you haven't made progress. So that's when you're too far in the feminine. So you want both. Masculine in fitness. So here are some examples: strength training, cardio, sets, reps, progressive overload, the discipline to show up even when you don't want to, following a routine, setting goals, using logic when your emotion kind of starts to dictate your actions, right? Like one of those moments of like, oh, well, all my friends are going out tonight and I know I have to be up early tomorrow or whatever, or like, oh, I haven't had a really stressful day. I deserve to lay on the couch because I'm sad. Right, so using logic when your emotions start to dictate your actions, that would be a trait of masculine. Focusing on your form, giving each workout session, your maximum effort, counting macros, planning ahead, meal prepping, pre-logging food, and utilizing a food scale. These are all some examples of, through what you guys are doing, that I categorize as sort of like the masculine. And then some feminine traits: stretching, breathing, resting, foam rolling, that mind muscle connection. So, as you're doing hip thrusts or bicep curls, really being able to get into your body, focusing on cues of like, okay, I can feel it here, or this is way too much, I'm about to die, or I can tell I'm really not pushing myself, or paying attention to your heart rate, in between sets, being like, okay, my heart is fully recovered. I could probably get back into this. Maybe I need to lift heavier next time, using those internal cues connecting to your body. Controlling your tempo, warming up, cooling down, the music that you play. I think that's so important. Setting the vibe. I think a lot of times people go into the gym and they don't set the vibe for themselves. And that has to do with music, what you wear, your intention going in. Like, you should feel cute in however you want to feel. If you want to feel like a badass, if you want to feel sexy, if you want to feel cute and fun and flirty, set the vibe. Yoga, obviously. So these are some kind of like ways movement can incorporate some feminine energy. Yoga, walking, biking, hiking, kayaking, dancing, things that are in nature, outside, things that maybe don't have so much structure, or you're not paying too much attention to form. You're really just allowing your body to flow. Sleep, stress management, rest days, focusing on micronutrients like fiber, vitamins, minerals, colors, fruits and veggies, eating to feel good. So a lot of times, the bro bodybuilders, or people who are just getting into fitness, they focus so much on macros, right? Protein, carbs, and fats. That's when you end up eating 2 protein bars, drinking 2 protein shakes, or eating rice and chicken all day. Then you have no fiber, you're constantly bloated, your hair is super thin, whatever that is. You're eating to feel good. That's when you're going to focus on micronutrients, colors, nourishing your body. Using estimation skills while eating out. So I'd say that's like a very powerful feminine trait, like when you're going out, and from the tools that we've learned in the masculine traits of tracking food, weighing food, understanding portion sizes. Now we can use that estimation and eyeballing skills when we're eating out, or just overall intuitive eating, which that's the end goal. The end goal of this whole thing, tracking macros, is like the training wheels. I want you to eventually not have to ever track macros, and to be able to understand portion sizes and what has protein and fats, and be able to listen to your own internal hunger cues. Intuitive eating, that's the end goal. And then also just tuning in with your body to make decisions. So if your neck is super tight and you slept on it wrong, is it best to go do chest and triceps that day? If you're going to be pushing a lot and a lot of strain on your neck, probably not. So maybe listen to your body. Or if you're super sore, should today be more of a day you prioritize yoga or walking? So utilizing listening to your body is a trait of the feminine. So I want to make it very clear that everything on this page and everything on the last page, both are equally required, right? How can you go about strength training if you're not focusing on breathing, right? You need to be properly breathing, inhaling on the way down, exhaling on the way up, resting between sets, stretching, sleep. You need to be sleeping. So again, just to point out that both are required. So what does disharmony feel like? What does it feel like when you're too far in one or too far in the other? So being too far in the masculine, this will feel like feeling stiff, feeling sore constantly, having high cortisol, which leads to adrenal fatigue. So high cortisol, I'm sure you probably are familiar, is when you feel super stressed, right? You got a lot of stress going on in your body at all times. You might not even feel it, but maybe your blood work shows it. And adrenal fatigue is when you have that for too long, even over just a couple months. And now we're wired but tired. We're constantly drained. We have no energy. We go to bed, yet we can't fall asleep. Overly stressed about your schedule, your to-do list. You use guilt and shame as your motivators. You're holding tension in your facial muscles, or your neck, or you're clenching your jaw at all times. You're worrying about not seeing progress fast enough. You're wondering what are the next steps. You're not very present of where you are right now, or just focusing on your daily tasks. Poor sleep, poor digestion. This could also turn into like acne, hormonal imbalances, specifically like a lot of things, honestly. They will all get messed up. And then just feeling like you're reaching a breaking point, like pretty frequently, maybe once, twice, 3 times a year, of being like, holy shit, I'm so overwhelmed. I need to rip my hair out. I feel like I'm at a breaking point. I can't sustain this, and then swinging too far in the feminine will look something like, I haven't been consistent with anything in a month or 2 months or years. I have no strategy or no adherence to my plan. I'm not pushing myself to my full potential in my workouts. That's when you're going to be using emotions to control your actions, spending most of the day sedentary, very lackadaisical. I think I spelled that word completely wrong. With food tracking. So, maybe you never, I see you guys laughing. I know I spelled it wrong. Feeling like you're, just super estimating everything when it comes to logging food. Maybe you only use the scale for one food, one meal of the day or whatever, mainly estimating, pushing off all of your to-do lists, all of your things, all of your workouts till the end of the week or to the weekend. This is when you feel overwhelmed with everything you have to do, AKA everything you're not doing. So feeling burnt out is a sign of being in your masculine. That's when you're doing everything, you feel burnt out, you feel drained. Feeling overwhelmed is a sign that you're in your feminine. That means you're overwhelmed with the things that you are not doing. You are creating this list by the things that you are not doing. This also can look like not setting boundaries with friends or family. You know, if everyone's going out every weekend and you can never say no, or everyone's ordering onion rings, so obviously you're going to order onion rings, or everyone's drinking or whatever. And it also looks like not being able to set boundaries with yourself. If you say you're going to do something, if you say you want something, you also are in charge of yourself. You have a relationship with yourself. And if you can't always control relationships with other people, you got to at least be able to control the one with yourself. All right, what does harmony feel like? So this is a long one. This is a story. I want you guys to follow along, okay? So this is what a day looks like of somebody who is balanced in both their feminine and their masculine. And this is ideally what we're going for, or what it should feel like and what it could feel like. So she prioritizes sleep hygiene, meaning falling asleep and waking up at the same time every day. She wakes up, drinks water, takes a moment of stillness and silence in the morning to herself before checking her phone. She takes a couple minutes to stretch, but then she starts to look at her schedule for the day. She has a game plan and intention for the day. She uses self-love and self-respect as her motivators, not self-hate or guilt or shame. She pre-logs her food for the day, focusing on the 80-20 balance, making sure she's not too strict or too rigid, or is logging only Brussels sprouts, which she knows she hates. Listening to calming binaural beats or affirmations on the way to work while she drinks her coffee. She gives her most focus and undivided attention to work, while she also schedules breaks to return to her body by eating without any distractions, taking multiple mindful deep breaths throughout the day, drinking lots of water, and steps out to get 10 minutes of direct sunlight in the middle of her workday. She gets off work and she immediately already has her gym clothes, and she changes into them, drives straight to the gym. She looks over her workout for the day, takes time to mindfully stretch, set the vibe for her workout, gets out of her head and into her body. Yeah, she follows the program with intensity, with grit, and she feels proud of herself for giving it her all. At the end of her workout, she takes 10 minutes to follow a guided yin yoga session before heading back home to cook dinner. She weighs out her food, which incorporates lots of colors, as well as a sweet treat at the end of the day. She FaceTimes her best friend, laying on the couch to nurture meaningful relationships while doing a face mask, and then watches an episode of Love Island. She realizes she did not hit her step goal for the day, but she doesn't feel guilty. Instead, she plans to take a long walk on the beach tomorrow, since tomorrow's her rest day. She takes her vitamins, she creates her schedule for tomorrow, starts to pre-log her food, have a game plan, and then mindfully journals about her emotions and how she felt for the day for 5 minutes, and then she goes to bed. So do you feel how, snap, snap, snap. She got all of her shit done. She was a badass at work. She was a badass in the gym. Yet she also laid on the couch, watched Love Island, put on a face mask. She didn't hit everything, but that's okay. She didn't use guilt, and if it was her rest day, it wasn't going to feel guilty for that, but also isn't going to allow that to snowball into 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Having that 80-20 balance, didn't feel terrible that she had a brownie at the end of the night. She still had her coffee in the morning, but instead of maybe driving to work super stressed or listening to the news or something that she knows makes her feel terrible, she listened to binaural beats and affirmations. So this is how we can, and I feel like if you lived a day like this over and over, how would you feel like burnt out? You wouldn't, because you gave yourself those moments of stillness and you gave yourself those moments of reflection. And you also wouldn't feel like a lazy piece of crap who feels like you're constantly starting from beginning over and over because you still showed up. So that feeling of the masculine is so beautiful and empowering. And if you don't have those moments where you are strong and you are structured, you're not going to feel good. I think a lot of times we think resting on the couch feels good, being lazy, taking a day off, overeating a whole bag of Doritos, that's what feels good. It really doesn't. And you probably have experienced that. So the balance of masculine and feminine. And just kind of touch on that, understanding the importance of both effort and ease, understanding the yin and the yang. This will allow you to feel soft and rested, yet energized and strong. A fit body is created from a balanced mind. You're not going to create your dream body or your dream life if you're never sleeping, if you're never prioritizing stress management, and you're constantly creating this terrible relationship with working out and using it as self-punishment. You're setting yourself up for failure if you are too far in one direction, either of them. I don't care if you're hitting every single workout every single day, if you don't have any moments of slowing down. So this can lead to, if you're swung too far in either direction, this is what causes hormonal imbalances, weight gain, stress, feeling burnt out, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stuck, depression, anxiety, thinning hair, a low metabolism, a low libido, acne, all of these things that it's like, oh my gosh, now I feel like it has snowballed. So if you do not intentionally, this is so important too, if you do not intentionally find the balance with these things, life will eventually force it onto you. If you do not give yourself rest, I guarantee you will probably, not to wish this onto you, you'll probably get sick, you'll probably get injured, you'll probably have something where you now have to take a rest week or something like that, or whatever. The universe, God, whatever you believes in, if you are never giving yourself rest, it will force it onto you. And same in the other way. If you're constantly go, go, go and overly stressed and all of this, like, well, actually that was that way, then it'll force rest onto you. Other way around, if you're constantly laying in bed and never doing anything and not prioritizing, foods that fuel your body, you're going to have to be pretty structured if you get put on medications and now you're injecting yourself with something every day and then you have medical bills, like then it's going to have to, when you're older, you have 3 times a day that you have to take 16 pills and you're in the hospital, yada, yada. Like no matter what, life is going to force you going to the other side, whether that is like, you're going to need a lot more structure in your life now to undo that, or you're going to need a lot more rest now to undo that. So very beneficial finding the balance in both. Find the harmony in both, know when to tap into your masculine and know when to tap into your feminine. This is when you will feel safe in your body. And this is also when you will trust that you can take care of yourself, just like a good parent. You're going to trust that they will show up for you, that they will take care of you. You have that full confidence and that you need to show that to yourself. So this is the secret to sustainability and longevity. Woo, I'm going to drink some water because my throat is dry after all that talking. Any comments, questions, and concerns?
I was just thinking how you said the society kind of being more masculine based. And that got me thinking, like, I know personally I've done both where I've gone way too far on one side and then way too far on the other. But it's almost like that pressure that society puts on us to be in our masculine more often than our feminine. Um, and I just thought of that. I was like, oh dang, like I think I'm like when I'm on it, I'm like crushing it and like not making time for the feminine. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on my stuff. But then, like you said, the universe is like, hey, girl, balance, and then I go the other way. So yeah, really good stuff.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. We absolutely live in a masculine based world, which I think is why it's really important to intentionally have those moments of mindfulness. And you probably will feel that like internal resistance because we're not raised to like prioritize that. But yeah, and if you are swung too far in one direction, you usually can't find the medium, like that middle ground immediately. You usually have to swing too far in the other direction until you can truly find that middle ground. So yeah. All right, well, thank you guys so much. This was beautiful. Anybody want to say anything else before we head out? No? All right, cool. Well, thanks guys, and I'll see you next week. See ya.